Okay, we are live.
Welcome. The broadcast will start shortly. The SMS went out at 10:45.
We're live, yep. We are live. Hey Jackson, how are you, buddy? Hello everyone else who's joining. We'll just wait a couple of minutes for everyone to join. Happy hump day, Jackson. Hope you're well. Hope you had a nice trip in Europe and you've got a nice tan. Can you guys just let me know if you can hear me okay? Jackson says, hi Corey, still in recovery from the Euro trip, in need of a holiday from the holiday. Yes, I know that feeling all too well. Cool, we've got a few more joining the room now I can see, which is good. 14 countries in 28 days, Jackson said. That sounds like an epic trip. Keen for the session and to get back amongst it. Love it. Well, it seems everyone can hear okay by the looks of it. We've got a few people rejoining, but I think we'll get going. If you guys have any questions or any issues or anything like that throughout the workshop, please just sing out, just tap it in the chat box. We want this to be nice and interactive. And make it more of an interactive session versus me just speaking for an hour. I'm going to do a lot of talking. That's just what's going to happen, but really want your input and I really want to answer your questions as you go as well. So welcome to the summer of sellouts. As we all know, as event promoters, it is the most exciting, sometimes the most daunting season of the year. And there's some really, really important things that I want to take you through today as to how you can absolutely nail the summer. A lot of people a lot of event promoters really just tackle things as they usually would. Summer can get so busy, everyone's wearing so many hats, trying to do a million different things, but there's some really critical things that I want to take you through today. All right, let's just make sure this clicker is working. Yep, there we go. So the question that you guys are probably asking yourself quite regularly is how can I sell out my events during the silly season? That's what we're all here for, and that's what we all want to do. And Jackson and some of the other Sellout Academy members that are probably on the call today. Have we gone a bit fuzzy, have we, on the screen? Is it okay? Or is it a bit blurry? Is it? All right, let's have a look. Sorry, guys, I might just do a little refresh of the screen. All right, I think we're back on. Cool. Sorry, guys. I think we went a bit blurry there. As I was saying, most people will know that this is my favorite quote. Most event promoters don't truly understand digital marketing, and most digital marketers don't truly understand events. And this is really the quote that really changed everything for me when I really started to realize this and sink into this. Most event promoters, as I was saying before, wear so many hats, and you guys are all amazing communicators. You've got a big network of people. You're really, really good at getting people around a certain message or a vision, but you don't necessarily know the ins and outs of the digital marketing world and the strategies and techniques to actually move the needle from a digital point of view, which is now more important than ever. And so that's what we're going to go through today, how you can really bridge that gap between event promoting and digital marketing. So this is what we like to call the event promoter's circle of chaos. I'm sure that you will all be very familiar with it. It all starts before launch. You're leading up to the launch. You're trying to book in acts. You're trying to, get venue contracts signed. You're trying to get sponsorship. You're trying to get everything finalized. You're trying to get your Pope in. You're trying to do all sorts of things like that, wearing tons of hats, and you're really, really rushing towards launch. And sometimes the marketing side of things, you get the artwork, you get the promo video, you get the email to the database ready. Because everything seems to sort of rush to the finish line, it can feel a little bit rushed out. And it's like, what's the last thing that you think about? Oh, what's the marketing copy that we should do? How should we set up our ad strategy? And so sometimes these things can be rushed. So then you get to the launch, you go on sale, you launch, sales are coming in, you get that big sort of dopamine hit, flood of sales, and everyone's pumped up. And then you kind of fall into that mid-campaign where things are just trickling through. You're looking at your sales, you're trying to, throw the proverbial crap at the wall and see what sticks. But you feel like it's just a slog, it's a real slog. And then you get to the run home, you get to the event week, it's chaos again, you're trying to get ready for the actual event. Again, everyone's wearing a million hats and you think, God, we might get there. Sales are starting to pick back up. And then you get to the event. It's an awesome event. Everyone has a good time. But then in the wash up, you think, wow, we got to 70% or we got to 80. But if we just got that extra 20 to 30, that could have been our cream. That's our profit. And you kind of feel like you're looking at yourself and you're looking at that extra 20 or 30%. And you think next time it'll be different. Next time we'll launch earlier, we'll be more prepared, we'll lock in the lineup earlier, we'll get everything sorted, we'll have a proper strategy, and we'll go for it. And then the cycle starts all over again. So who here is familiar with this cycle? If you guys just want to let me know in the chat box, because I know it's a very familiar feeling, for event promoters. So what you want to do, that is me. Yep, that's us. Yep, me too. Yep, correct. So what you want to do to bridge that gap between digital marketing and event promoting is you want to have a system to follow and a structure to follow that actually works. And the goal is you want to either run successful campaigns through a skilled up marketing resource, so someone in your team internally, so you might make it an internal hire and you might get someone to run it. You might use a freelancer or a contractor. If you're just starting out and you're doing a lot yourself, you may do it yourself. So the idea is that, are you skilling up internally, or are you using an external resource like an ad agency or something like that, but when they're coming back to you with all these acronyms, CPC, CPV, CTR, and all this online marketing jargon, what the hell they're talking about. And you can ask them the right questions, and you can keep them accountable for what they're doing. And that's the most important part. So you're either doing one of these two things. You're doing it internally, or you're keeping your agency accountable for their results. So today, we'll go through quick origins of the Sellout marketing system, then we'll jump into the meat of it. So we'll talk about some really awesome Black Friday ad strategies. Obviously, that's coming up very fast in about a month or so. We'll go through competitor launches, how to navigate around them, and actually capitalize on the momentum of some of your competitor events if the timings works out. We'll talk about creating the most precious asset that any event can have, and that's real FOMO, real being the key word. We'll talk about capitalizing on people who are already in spend mode. They're used to transacting. They've broken down that spending barrier. And then we'll go through a case study, and then we'll chat about the Sellout Academy. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of information about about it in the emails we've been sending out, and you might have some questions about what it is. So we'll go through some more details around that towards the end, and then we'll go through a Q&A as well. If you guys have got any questions, as I said, as we go, feel free just to tap them in the chat box. Alicia here is alongside me, and she will be hitting me up with any questions you guys have, and we can answer them along the way as well. Cool. So some of the people who Sellout Academy members, Jackson, a few other people that might be on watching will probably know this story. Some of you might have attended previous workshops, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'll quickly give it a whip through, but for the people who aren't familiar with it, it's really important just to sort of understand where Sellout marketing system came from and the power and the results that it has generated over the years, so then you can understand how you can use it to help your events. So this is where it all started for myself and my team. Our trusty little backyard party in 2011 in a backyard in Frankston. We thought, hey, listening to house music from the late 90s and early 2000s is awesome. The feeling that it brings back as soon as you hear it, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up and it takes you back to a certain moment. I was driving along in my car one day and the song Music Sounds Better by Stardust came on, and I was in a bit of a mood, not going through a great time in my life. As soon as the song came on, it just transported me back and just made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. And I thought, man, like the power of music, to take you back to that exact moment is just incredible. So we thought, hey, let's do a bit of a countdown, sort of like a Triple J Hottest 100, but for house music. Everyone voted, they emailed in all of their votes, and we tallied them into a top 50, and we DJ'd the top 50 in a backyard in Frankston from number 50 to number 1 with 30 people. It was an incredible night. So fast forward a few years, we scaled up. We went to a nightclub, then we went up to the rooftop. We were packing at the Circa deck, with 1,500 people in there. A few years had gone past. This had turned into from a backyard party to what was then called Reminisce, and that became our brand. And during this time, when I was saying before about most event promoters don't understand digital marketing, most digital marketers don't understand events. This is where I was lucky enough to have experience in both. So as I was scaling my own event brand, as I was DJing, promoting for events, being involved in the scene, I was also working full-time in corporate digital marketing. So I got a job at CrownBet. I ended up as the head of social there, managing a team of 20 people, spending millions and millions of dollars a month on Meta ads and Google ads, getting that real enterprise digital marketing experience. Then I went to agency land and I worked full-time on the NAB account, managing all of their business and brand portfolios. Again, spending millions of dollars a month on Google ads, it was only Facebook ads back then, now it's Meta ads, and really understanding the real technical side of enterprise high-level digital marketing and the strategy that comes with it. So during this period, that's where I bridged that gap between the event marketing and the digital marketing, because event marketing is so much different to a usual digital ad campaigns if you're doing e-commerce, B2B lead generation, any of that other stuff. Events are a totally different ball game, so you must know both. So after we had this event in 2018, we were bursting at the seams. We thought, hey, we've really got an awesome brand on our hand here. Let's scale this thing up. So we went from Circa straight to the Sydney Mime Music Bowl in Melbourne. That was 2019 was our first one, and this was a photo from the event earlier this year in March. So the journey has been amazing. I've seen something start from completely nothing from a backyard party and build up to a multi-state, 10,000 person festival. Gone blurry again? All right, I'll do a bit of a refresh, guys, so you can see again. Okay, cool. I'm just going to refresh just in case a few people it's gone blurry. Cool. All right. And then once we'd start to scale up Reminisce, and I'd really identified the gap between digital marketing and event marketing. That's when I started Sellout Digital in 2018. And the goal was to really empower event promoters and event marketers all across Australia to bridge that gap between events and digital and to sell out their events because the system and the way to do it is a bit of a rinse and repeat formula. So that's what I really wanted to educate people on. Sorry, I haven't shared my screen again. There we go. So as I said before, I was lucky enough to work across a ton of brands with my own clients, working across NAB and Crown, all these different amazing brands, and the journey has been incredible. And now we've got to this point in 2024 where we're helping people through the Sellout Academy and so many other programs that we run and really empowering event promoters like you guys to sell out all of their events. Numbers game, this probably needs to be updated actually. It's probably been a few more, but we've got 283 sold out events, almost 5 million in ad spend and almost 100 million in ticket sales, which is a 20x return on ad spend. So as I said before, the numbers stack up and the sellout marketing system is definitely the way to follow. So before we jump into the content and I take you through the masterclass, just wanted to touch on the Sellout Academy. So you can see these screenshots here. These are directly from the Sellout Academy. It's basically like a little community that we've got, our own little event promoters community. It's done through the school platform. And basically in there, you get to have day-by-day support with anything that you're struggling with. So inside the community, there's a ton of resources, a ton of video courses, and we can go through that towards the end. So there's self-paced learning. But really what I'm finding is so many of the community, they really find the most value in what you can see in the middle there, the community and the support that they get. Anytime you've got an issue, struggling with ads or, something technical, or it's a strategy piece, or, even if you just want people to review your artwork or have a look at your promo video and give any feedback, there's a whole bunch of event promoters in there who are all working together, for one goal, and that's to sell out their events. So really, really exciting, and we'll go through some more information on that towards the end. So we had a little whiteboard malfunction last workshop that we did. So what we've basically done now is just taken a screenshot of this just to explain to you guys how things work. So in a second, I'm going to go through the strategies to how to navigate, the big sale times like Black Friday and Christmas and Boxing Day, and these sorts of sales. But the most important thing for you guys as event promoters is to understand how the algorithms work. So if you're running ads on Meta, you're running ads on TikTok and these different platforms, it's really, really important to understand how the algorithm works, because then once you do that, that's when you can go and make strategic decisions. So what I'm going to show you over the next couple of slides will make a lot more sense once you sort of grasp this concept. Some of you guys, as I said before, who have watched the workshops previously may have seen this, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that haven't as well. So what you're basically seeing here, if you imagine that big circle as an audience pool of, let's say as an example, of 100,000 people inside Meta. So you've set up your ads and you've said to Meta, okay, let's go and target, house music lovers between 18 to 25 in Melbourne in a certain radius. And it says, okay, there's 100,000 people in there. Then what you imagine is all those dots are the 100,000 people. Then what you're basically asking it to do, if you say, I want traffic, or I want conversions, in this case, ticket purchases, or I want video views, what you're saying to Meta or TikTok or these other platforms is, hey, I want you to go out and find me people who are likely to buy tickets, or likely to click my link, or likely to watch the video. And you can see up in the top corner there, 1 million data points. So Meta has over 1 million data points on every single person on the platform. So that's things from, the pages that you follow and the friends that you have, your demographics, your age, your location, etc., etc. But then it goes a lot deeper and it works out, okay, are you someone who is more likely to purchase tickets to an event on Sunday nights? I know for me, when I'm sitting there having my little chill time on Sunday night, might be sitting on the couch. I do a bit of life, admin. Oh, hey, I wanted to get tickets to this or whatnot. I do a bit of, looking around and I generally will make purchases on a Sunday afternoon. Well, Meta knows that about me. And if I'm someone who does that more in Instagram stories than I do in Facebook feeds, it will actually tailor the ad campaign to work me over, and because it knows when I'm more likely to do things. If I'm in transit and I'm on the train, couple of stops into the office, and I'm usually someone who watches videos for a long time, I'll watch a full video when I'm on the train, then it will show me videos when I'm on the train because it knows I'm more likely to do it. So I hope that all makes sense because it's really, really important to understand. So then what you're basically doing, let's just say you want to get video views for your promo video for your event. So you go out, you say, okay, I select video views as my placement. It will then start spending and start spraying the ad to anyone inside that 100,000 person audience. And then as people respond, it will start to build a little bit of a profile of similarities of the people who are actually watching the video. And then it will say, right, these are the people inside this audience who match that. There's 50,000 people that we're going to go after. The other 50, it will, what they call, optimize them out, meaning that it will never show the ad to them. Then, if you said you wanted, okay, traffic, then it will maybe show it to 20 or 30,000 people that are the same, but it might reach another 20 or 30,000 people who wouldn't watch the video because they're not video watchers, but these people are clickers. So it will actually show the video to the campaign to those people who are clickers because it knows that they're more likely to click the ad than they are to watch a video. So then you get further down the funnel, you can kind of see where this is going, videos, traffic, and then purchasing. As you get further down the funnel, and if you tell it, okay, Meta, I want people who purchase tickets to events because they are your gold. If someone clicks an ad, and so some people on Meta, they're just clickers, but they never buy. So if you say to Meta, I want to purchase, then it's not going to show your ad and to chip away at people who are just clickers because it knows they're not valuable. It wants purchases, right? But there's less people inside the audience who actually go through and transact. So now you can sort of see why it's really important to, where you can, run conversion campaigns, because that tells Meta to go out and get the valuable people and to go out and get people who will actually buy tickets. And that's the game. That's the whole crux of it. And so what we're going to go through now is the reason why this is so important. Before we do, I know I've kind of been blabbing on about algorithms and things for a little bit. Can you guys just let me know if you've got any questions or anything on that side of things, on the algorithm? Hopefully it all makes sense. And it sometimes can be a bit technical, but that's the hopefully easy way that I like to explain it. All right. If any questions come through, I'll address them. All right. Cool. So, Black Friday. As we all know, and especially over the last few years, Black Friday has been a bit of a black hole, especially if you're running ads. There's so many advertisers in the world. A lot of it is e-commerce based. That's what Black Friday is really, is about the e-commerce side of things. But when the way to understand why Black Friday has such an impact on us as event marketers is this. In the last slide, when I was talking about the conversion campaigns, all of those e-commerce brands that are spending millions and millions of dollars on their offers, and retail brands, shops, and all of that, they are going after conversions. They're spending millions and high bids on people who are buyers. And these people are getting flooded with purchase ads. So what happens is it's a supply and demand thing. If you imagine the stock market, people put money in, they buy shares in a company, the shares go up. Everyone sells, the shares go down. It's the same thing. It works like the stock market. So if millions and millions more dollars are going in to target these people who are buyers, your ads are getting pushed to the back of the line because these people are spending so much more. So it's really, really important to follow these 3 strategies around Black Friday with your event ads. And I'll show you some examples in a minute, and this will all come together and make sense. I'm just going to check a couple of questions. Cam says, do the algorithms work the same on other platforms, e.g. TikTok and Google? Yeah, really good question. So the short answer is they're similar. Same, but different, let's call it. Meta has the most PII, personally identifiable information about you because of all the data that it harvested before all the privacy regulations came in. So Meta is absolutely the most powerful to understand that maximum amount, million data points that I was mentioning before. The other algorithms do work in a similar way, but they don't have quite as much data. So for TikTok, for example, it's more conversational. What are you posting about? What are you consuming? Which hashtags are you searching? Which trends are you jumping on? And then you can target people who are specific to those. And then from the Google side of things, they have more browsing data on you, obviously, because a lot of people use Chrome and you're searching for things all the time. So Google sort of knows your intent a lot more around your intent to purchase and these sorts of things. So they work, as I said, same, but different. Jackson says, which strategy would you recommend to first engage possible audiences when working with smaller events with limited budgets? Roping in possible audience to later retarget might not be feasible. Yeah, so good point, Jackson. So basically the whole goal in a perfect event campaign, in an ad, for example, would be you set up a ticket purchase campaign, you put your pixel on the page, whether it's Eventbrite or whatever ticketing platform you're using, you go out, you tell the algorithm that you want people to buy tickets, you put in your budget, and it just goes and finds people who buys tickets, and you make tons of sales, and that's it. And you just run one campaign. That's a conversion campaign. But it doesn't always work like that because you need enough data to feed into the algorithm for it to learn and understand the type of people that are buying your tickets. So that's the absolute crux of it. I could spend, this whole day speaking about strategies around it. There's a ton of stuff inside the Sellout Academy that explains all of this, and it's a very high-level topic of conversation that we talk about a lot. But ideally, the goal is to get the conversion campaigns going. If they're not working, then you can switch to traffic. And generally, if they're not working, if you've got a small budget, it can be because it's not getting enough data through. That's the general sort of simple way to explain it. Again, excuse me, I hope that makes sense. So, how do you get around Black Friday? So, what you basically want to do is, you want to avoid launching during the period as much as possible. So 2 weeks before is when the ad costs start to blow out, and I'll take you through some examples in a sec. So 2 weeks before Black Friday, don't launch anything. And about 1 week after, then you get that little lull between that and Christmas, and then where it gets a bit crazy again with the Boxing Day sales. So that's generally the timing side of things. In terms of your budget, you generally try to get as many in the bank, sales in the bank as you can before you get into that sort of 2 week to 3 week period. So you might spend a bit more beforehand or try to get your launch done before it, and then slow down a little bit on your spend. The other really important thing to do is if you've got conversion campaigns and you notice that the costs are starting to blow out and they're starting to go from $10 a sale to $20 to $30 to $40 a sale, you can then move your money into more engagement-based things like traffic, video views, and your strategy throughout your whole campaign might be go hard at the start, launch during the Black Friday period, just work on those people that you need to get off the fence by giving them hype, video views, engagement, focus on chipping away at them, giving them some really good content to understand how awesome your event is. And then once Black Friday period's over, then go hard again on the conversions and try to convert them. That's a really sort of general high-level strategy that has worked really well for us. And I'll take you through an example shortly. And then the final one, and this is, if there's one thing that you take away from this workshop today, a single thing, it's that creative is the single most important factor to the success of your event ads. You used to sit down and try to get this tiny little niche audience and target all these different audiences with all this testing and split testing, tons of audiences. Now it's just a creative competition. It's just a popularity contest. Who has the best, most relevant, most engaging creatives? So, as I said, if you could take one thing away, it would be invest more in your creative and less in your ad spend. That is the most important thing that I can get across to you guys today. It's a creative game. It's a creative competition. We'll just check any more questions before we move on.
Let's just refresh the screen.
Gone fuzzy again, have we? All right. Sorry, guys. It must be a little bit of a Wi-Fi issue in the... All right, we're back. Cool. So here's an example for you. Hopefully, I've been talking a bit of sort of theory over the last probably 10, 15 minutes or so. Hopefully this example can give you guys a bit more context around it. So these ads that you can see here, this is the Meta Ads Manager. These are from our Reminisce Decade of House in Frankston event that we did at the start of the year, which is that photo that you can see in the background. So it was an awesome day. There was tons of people at the football oval in Frankston. It was an epic event. But we did have our challenges in the lead up in terms of navigating around the Black Fridays and whatnot. So you can see here, there's a few important things to look at. Firstly, look at the time period in the top right-hand corner. It's the 4th of November till the 10th of November. So this is 3 weeks out from Black Friday. So you can see down the very bottom, we only had one campaign running. And it was a conversion campaign, which was optimizing towards ticket purchases. So you can see there, we got 22 purchases, 16.24 a purchase. Now, it's important to keep in mind that the average ticket purchase volume is around 2.2 on any transaction. So that means that it says 22 purchases. That's probably around 40 to 44 to 45 actual tickets. So we're probably going at around $8 per $100 ticket sold. Great. If you're around 10% of your ticket price in terms of a cost per ad spend to sell your ticket, as a general rule of thumb, perfect. That's where you want to be. So all good. We're happy. 3 weeks out from Black Friday period. Those was the numbers. So then another week further on. So this is now 2 weeks out from Black Friday. If you look at the very bottom line, you can see the cost per purchase has gone up from $16 to $37 as we get closer to Black Friday, because there's tons more money competing for the same eyeballs. Therefore, the cost of advertising goes through the roof. So you can see the campaigns above. This is where we started to do what I was speaking about in the couple of slides ago, which was go for more engagement-based marketing. So you can see we've done some hype videos. We started to push our voting a little bit. with Reminisce, we have voting, so it's another good way to engage people because they have to vote for the songs. So we started to run some voting ads. We started to do some traffic ads, some video views, and really just focus on those engagement metrics because we knew that our cost per sale from our conversion ads was going to run out. So we wanted to make sure we were getting more coverage and more people were seeing it. Then, 1 week out, so 18th to the 24th of November, Black Friday was actually on the 24th of November. So this was Black Friday week. So you can see the cost per purchase has gone up to $69. So it's gone 16, 37, 69. So cost per ticket sale, you halve it. So 8, around 20 or 18, and around $35, which is, we don't want to be paying $35 in ad spend to sell a $100 ticket. So that's not ideal. But you can see we've shifted a lot more budget towards, the hype. So we got 761 page lands on that campaign. And you can see the other videos above. So this is sort of what I mean around just shifting your strategy throughout the Black Friday period, just to engage people a lot more. Just going to have a look at a couple of questions.
Lisa and Chris got some questions.
Yep, Lisa, what if your event falls on Black Friday weekend? Is it best to limit the spend in the last 2 weeks in the lead up or just suck up the cost of your spend? I think if that's the case, if your event is on Black Friday weekend, it's probably one of those things that you just kind of need to stick to your guns. As we know, the run home is really important. Your last week to 2 weeks, you don't necessarily want to be slowing down, on the spend. If it was me, I would think about trying to capture people maybe through some kind of competition, get them on your email list, try and rinse your database a little bit more. If you've got a good database, maybe you could go a little bit more heavy on the marketing to your database, maybe send out some SMSs. Try to think of some other ways that you can reach people and reach your audience and rinse a few more sales that don't necessarily come direct from ads. That's probably a way that you could sort of navigate around the Black Friday ad costs. But yeah, you might want to switch to traffic if you're running purchases to try and navigate around that. Now, the one thing that I want to mention is all of this advice comes from years of experience and a lot of trials and tribulations and mistakes that I've made and results that I've seen for myself, for my clients, for my team. That's not to say that you have to do it this way. If you have got a really kick-ass brand and really good creative, and your campaigns are running, there's a chance that they will go up a little bit. But if they're working for you, if the dollars and cents are working and you're happy, maybe you've got maybe it's a corporate event, right? And you've got a back end product and that you sell, and you're happy for it to cost you $69 to sell a ticket to your event because you know that you're going to make money on the back end. No problem. That's fine. As I said, if you've got really, really awesome creative and you've got a niche and you've got a good brand, your ads can still perform really well through this period. So this is general advice, and for most people, this is what you'll need to do, but it's not always the case. I just wanted to make sure that I let you guys know that this is general advice for most people. It's 80-20 rule, right? Everything in life is 80-20, so that's probably the way to look at it. Lisa says, also, would you recommend a budget total of 10% of ticket revenue on meta spend alone or your ticket price? Yeah, so generally, the way we work it is that if we look at our total event revenue, that's when we will then say, okay, we'll spend about 10% of our total event revenue on marketing. And then how you split up your marketing mix on that is really up to you. For us, a lot of it is spent on digital, the majority. Like say for a Reminisce event, for example, for one of our bigger events at the Music Bowl, where we've got 10,000 people, we will spend probably, if I'm just thinking in the top of my head, let's say we spend 10% of our marketing budget of our revenue on marketing. Of that, probably I would think probably 60% of that will probably go on digital ads. And then some of it obviously will go on street posters. And then, you've got your artwork and your video and all that stuff. That's all marketing. So that needs to go into that mix as well. But that's generally the sort of numbers for us. Cool. So structuring launches around your competitors' events. How are we going for time? We're probably well behind. So a lot of people sort of get scared around their competitors' events and think, oh, let's just completely avoid it. And we know it's the most competitive time of year. We know that there's a ton of events launching. It can be frustrating when you feel like you're just about to launch and then all of a sudden a competitor launches and you go, oh, now we got to wait. And then, oh, but these people are launching their lineup the next week. Oh, we should dodge around that. It can become really, really tricky. And so these tips here are what we have found to be the most effective around navigating around your competitors. So obviously, research as much as you can, get as much intel, find out as much information as you possibly can. Then, what we have found is that people are the most likely to buy and to get excited fresh after another event. So you've probably noticed it with your own events. If you're running several events as a promoter, you launch your event straight out the back of your last one, and then you keep the momentum rolling. That's a really good strategy to do. Well, you can do the same with your competitors. So if you've got a competitor event and they've just had their event on the weekend on Sunday, you might decide to launch, on the Tuesday or the Wednesday. Everyone's had the event. They've had so much fun. They're like, that was awesome. Excuse me. When's my next escape? We know escapism is a massive thing for events, especially music events and festivals and things like that. So capitalize on that post-event buzz from your competitors and launch out the back of their events. And you can say things like, if you're doing a techno event, like your next techno rave is X. The next one is geo-targeting. So going back to ads again, if you're running meta ads and you are happy to, and you know all your competitors' events, you can actually geo-target, drop a pin on the location of their event, on their event day, run a reach campaign. So the objectives that I was talking about before, conversions, traffic, video views, etc. One of the objectives is reach. And what reach does is it will just show the ad to as many people as possible. So it won't optimize for an action, like I was saying before. It will just show the ad to as many people as possible inside your specific audience. So if you drop a 1 kilometer radius around your competitor's event around that day, then you can run, you can spend $20, $50. It doesn't have to be much because reach goes a long way. Run it for a couple of days after, and you generally can pinpoint people who are going to similar events to yours. And the last one, competitor bidding on Google search. So if you've got a competitor's event and people are searching for, tickets to X, Y, and Z, whatever event it is, you can set up your ad to run when they search your competitor's event. So then people will search for that, for some tickets, your event will pop up and they'll say, put some words in there, some keywords that will get their attention. Using the techno example, if it's a techno event, make sure you put the artist in and the venue and the genre and things like that. And then you can take the traffic that people are the search volume and send it over to your way. This is a very common thing. It happens all the time in big industries across the world. When I was working on NAB, on agency land, it was so fierce, the competition. Everyone was doing competitor bidding. All the big 4 banks were bidding on each other's terms. It can get very expensive when you're bidding on competitor terms, so you've got to be conscious of budget, but it can be a really, really good strategy. Sorry, guys.
There's also a great question in here from Philip.
Oh, yeah?
In regards to longevity of ads and audience sizes.
Yep. Okay, I'll answer that before we refresh. So Philip says, is there a way to predict the longevity of an ad or the audience size? Even when I run broad, the ads can go really well for a week and then abruptly drop off. It kind of gives me false data on how well an event may go when I test it on Meta. Yeah, really, really good question. The answer is that there's no necessarily a set formula to predict it, but what you'll generally find is the reason for that. I hope this makes sense based on what I was explaining before on the whiteboard. So you know how I was saying before that if you say to Meta, I want you to go out and get conversions or traffic, and then when it starts spending, it will then just serve the ad to anyone. And then it will, sorry, I'm just going to refresh. All right, sorry guys. Yeah, it'll start serving the ad to anyone and everyone inside that audience. And Philip, when you were talking about that it'll start going really well, that's when you're at that period, you're saying, oh, it's getting some conversions, it's performing well because it hasn't optimized yet. And then once it starts to optimize, it's basically saying, okay, now we were just sending your ad to anyone in the ranking system. If we want to look at it like a ranking system, we were sending your ad to anyone, you were getting some conversions, but now that we've got enough data, we're going to rank you, say, down here. And that's when it will start sending your ad to what we call, bad impressions, people who aren't necessarily going to take that action because there's probably a reason that the ad isn't performing. So you get that little bit of a false dawn at the start, and then once it optimizes, it puts you in the, in the pecking order, and it'll just not necessarily show you to the good impressions that are up here. So the way to get around that, going back to my point before about the creative, is to win the creative game. That is the most important part. So usually when your ad isn't performing, it's usually one of three things. It's that you don't have a good enough hook or headline, so either the first bits of copy in your ad, or if it's a video, that first 2 or 3 seconds of your video, so you're not getting people's attention at the start. That's the first reason. Or you don't have a good enough offer. So what you want to be offering people is a reason to click through, a reason to read your page, a reason to transact. So if you're not giving someone a good reason, a good offer to take action, that can be really tricky as well. And the third reason is if you have poor creative, or not necessarily poor, but just not striking, relevant creative that gets people's attention. So those are usually the three reasons as to why you might get optimized down the pecking order. Again, hope that makes sense. Cool. All right. We all good? Yep. I'll keep moving, guys, because we're probably a little bit behind, and we can answer some of the questions at the end. Philip, okay, makes sense, thanks. Cool. So, generating some FOMO techniques. I'm going to whip through this because I want to get to a Q&A with you guys, and I want to help as much as I possibly can. So make sure that this is actually probably really good based off the last comment that I said. So be really, really clear and transparent about why to buy now. So you can see here, this is an example Reminisce ad. So grab your third release ticket to Reminisce Trance before we move to final. Don't miss out. Then the middle one, Melbourne, consider this your final warning, last tickets. So can you see those two ads? They're both sales ads. They're both ticket conversion ads, but you can see the difference in the tone. The one on the left is more of a general ad. So it's mid-campaign. We're not at that point where we're about to sell out yet, but we're still working language into our ads that gives them a reason to buy now. Grab your third release ticket to Reminisce Trance before we move to final. Don't miss out. Okay, I probably should think about taking some action. Then the next one, we've got to the point where we're almost sold out and we're just being really clear. 250 tickets remain. Consider this your final warning. Like, you're going to miss out if you don't buy tickets now. And the main thing that I wanted to put forward is always call out volumes of tickets, not percentages. 70% sold out, it just doesn't work. No one cares. So really, really important, always state the amount of tickets that are left. And the last one, keep your content as content. A lot of people fall into the trap of saying, oh, look at this video, how fun our event is. Oh, by the way, don't forget to get tickets now, da-da-da. It just muddies the messaging. So if you're pushing content, your goal of your content is to excite people about your event, is to get them to feel what it's going to feel like at your event, to really take them into that moment. And it just cheeses it up if you put sales stuff at the end of it. If they want to go, they'll click through to your page on Insta, they'll click your link in bio and they'll buy tickets. So whatever the goal of your content piece is, leave it at that. So content, do content. Sales, do sales. And then psychology of spend mode. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I know we're probably a little bit behind on time. But basically, the way it works is people think, oh, no one's got any money because they're all spending it on Christmas stuff and heaps of events during summer and whatnot. And obviously, that is a relevant point. But it's actually more, it works the other way. People are in spend mode. They've got they're excited about summer. They've got that festive mindset, and they're constantly transacting. So the barrier of them, pulling their wallet out, pulling their phone out, and transacting is lower. So they've got their barriers down. So it's important to make sure that you capitalize on that during the season. My screen's gone a bit frozen now. It's all right. I can still... Why is that not working? You guys can see it, so I think that's okay. Cool. So just wanted to touch on a quick case study. Again, I'm going to whip through this because I want to give some time for some Q&A. But Dan is one of our original Sellout Academy members. He runs a lot of events, got a lot of event brands. One of them's I Remember House, which is based in Sydney, and he does tours all over Australia. And Dan came to us and he was really struggling to get to that final sellout. He'd get, 70%, 80% capacity, but he just sort of couldn't get it over the hump. And that's what I was explaining before around, that's where your cream is, that's where your profit is, getting to that point to get that sellout from your 70%, 80% mark. And so Dan joined the Sellout Academy. He was, I like to say that he's our A+ student, probably Jackson, not far behind, mate. Dan just started doing everything that we put forward. He went through all the courses. He was going through his worksheet. Every time I'd log into his folder, he would have done all the tasks. And I remember saying to him, mate, you're our number one student. And the results are there for everyone to see. So a couple of weeks ago, he sold out the Ivy. He put the big sold out sign on the door, and it was a really sort of exciting moment for us to sort of see his journey and his progress through the campaign. And yeah, it was really, really good. We had an awesome session and gave him a big pat on the back. And I guess the one thing that I wanted to call out to you guys is it's small changes generate big results. And that's the thing that I always harp on about. It's not necessarily this whole new, unbelievable, complicated, complex strategies that you're going to need to implement that are going to get you to that sellout. It's small little changes. And, myself, my team, we've been there before. We've done that. We've been doing this for 15 years, 20 years. We've seen the whole journey of what works and what doesn't. So it's really just pointing you in the right direction and just giving you it can be a question in the Sellout Academy. You ask it, I'll send through a Loom video an hour later. That could be the turning point that gets you, to that sellout. It's not necessarily this huge, complicated thing. And that was the case with Dan. It was really just about restructuring what he was doing, altering some of his language and the way that he did his ticket releases, helping him out with his pre-sales so he could generate a lot of sales earlier, getting his database and everything set up properly, and then boom, he was away. And that's what got him to that sellout. Cool. I'm just going to whip through, as I said. So Dan is also in our Inner Circle program. If you join the Sellout Academy, that's something that you'll get across. The Inner Circle program is kind of for those people that want to take that next step and take things to a next level. So Dan's just joined that as well, and I'm really excited for for his journey for the next 12 months. It's it's going to be awesome. Cool. So just to give you guys a little bit of info on the Sellout Academy before we jump into the Q&A. As I said, you've probably looked through and seen some of the emails we've been sending, but basically what it is it's a community. At its heart and as its core, it is a community. We do it through a platform called School. It kind of looks very familiar once you go in. It's got a feed, kind of like Facebook does. People have their own profiles. And we all engage and work together on getting everyone's sellouts. So you can see here's some of the screenshots. Ben, I think Ben might be on today, hopefully. He's someone who's just joined the Sellout Academy. I'm really looking forward to our onboarding session that we'll have. But if you go in, you got any questions, you need help with your ads, you need help with your launch, anything like that, you can just pop it in the group as a post, and then myself or my team will jump in. We can make a little video, screen recording, help you out, explain to you what you should do, and just nudge you in the direction that you need to go in, and just kind of guide you through the jungle of everything. And again, like I said before, this is where we find that people get the most value. The workshops are great, the online learning's great, all of that stuff is amazing and really helps. But this is kind of the crux of it, is the support. So you can see here, this is our classroom. So these are all the self-paced learning modules. So we've got 1, 2 premium workshops and courses that we have. So the 4 steps to a sellout workshop, the $1 Million Event Launch Blueprint, which is the complete, total and utter documentation of exactly how we launched our tailgate event from nothing to selling out 1,500 people in 16 days. We filmed the whole thing. We screen recorded everything. That's put together in a course. And then we've got a bunch of other resources and workshops and everything in there as well. So in terms of what you get, this is basically everything that you get. So we do a strategy session straight up. We'll dive in, spend time with you, pulling apart your event marketing engine, having a look at what you're doing, and making a battle plan for what the next 6 to 12 to 24 months looks like. As I said before, you've got the 2 workshops, 4 steps to a sellout, $1 Million Event Launch Blueprint. You've got the community, a bunch of other event promoters. You've got the daily marketing support from us to help you, guide you through the way. And we've just actually switched from doing a fortnightly or every 3 weeks masterclass or workshop to a weekly Q&A. So our Sellout Academy members don't actually even know that yet. So there's some information for you guys. We've actually just switched it, so it's going to be a weekly Q&A on Wednesdays every week. So which will be live with myself to go in and help you guys. And then as well, we've got agency accounts with Google, Meta, TikTok. We speak to our reps all the time. So if you've got any issues, with pages getting disabled and account bans and all that sort of stuff, we can generally sort of fast track those as well, which can be really valuable too. So you can see here all of that value back on the last page. It's 2494 worth of value. And at the moment, we're offering it for $147. So this offer will run out at midnight tonight. Then the price will go back up to $197 a month at midnight tonight. But if you purchase before then, you can grab it for $147. And that's your lifetime price. So the price of this, as we go up, as we grow, as we get more content and more resources, we get a bigger team and everything in there as it grows, the price is going to keep going up because we obviously need to, need to fund the resourcing and everything and the value that we're going to keep growing into the academy. So once you jump in, that'll be your lifetime price. You'll never pay a cent more than that. And you can see there on the right-hand side, you can cancel your subscription anytime. So you can jump in, you've got 7 days to have a look around. If you feel like, hey, this isn't for me for whatever reason, no problem. We'll just refund your money, no questions asked. And then you can cancel your subscription anytime you want along the journey as well. So we're going to go through some testimonials and things like that, but I know we're a bit short of time, so I really want to spend a little bit of time going through the questions and whatnot with you guys. So I'm just going to jump over and see if I can answer a few questions. I'm going to move this so I can get a bit of a better, yeah. Okay. Cool. So Lisa said, if you join the program, is it cost for the business event or cost per individual? Good question. So it's a cost per business. So basically, if you want to join, Lisa, you can sign up, jump in, and then if you want your team members or your business partner to be able to jump in and have a look too, that's fine. They can just use your logins and jump in and have a look. Jonathan said, would you use Christmas and holidays as an opportunity to market it as a sale and lower your ticket price in order to get more sales? Fantastic question. And I actually should have touched on that. So thank you. Thank you for bringing that up, Jonathan. So my general strategy and my general train of thought around this is try and avoid it where you can. It depends on your brand. That's the most important part. If you've got a brand and your positioning in the market is a cost-effective brand, then doing things like discounts and sales is okay. But if you've got a premium brand and you're trying to hold a certain level of value with your ticket prices, people give you money, you give them value, a certain experience or some type of value. If it's business, it's a business event, it might be business advice or something like that. There's a value exchange there. And so as soon as you go and start discounting and dropping your prices, that value exchange drops. And then the customers don't view your event as highly. And the other thing that it can do is it can sort of train them just to wait for you to drop during Black Friday or whatever it might be. So just keep that in mind. If your event and your brand works and that's going to work for you, absolutely you can do it. But just keep in mind it's important to have that value exchange and have that value established. Cool. All right. A lot of questions coming through, which is great. All right. Let's have a look. Thanks, Jackson. There's not enough hours in the week to catch up on the amount of resources available. Thanks, buddy. Oh, I love that. Some of these comments I'm laughing at. You're an alcoholic when this slide makes you thirsty. I love it. All right, cool. So Chris said, how do we go about implementing our Tixel to our ticketing page? So the short answer is there's a lot of different ways depending on your ticketing company. So the good reputable ticketing companies, like the bigger ones, like your Eventbrites, your Ticket Booths, your Megatixes, Humanitix, these sorts of guys, they will just generally grab your pixel code. So it's your pixel ID. So if you go into your ad manager, you go into your events manager in there, you can just grab your pixel ID, and then usually you can just self-serve. You can just go into the back end, and usually it's like a marketing or a tracking or whatever the menu item might be. And then you literally just drop that pixel code into that field, save it, and then what they will do is they will automatically apply a purchase conversion event every time someone buys a ticket. So if I use, say, Eventbrite for an example, that they will do that. So you drop your pixel code in, and then you can set up your conversion campaigns on Meta just to target purchases. And then once people start buying tickets, you'll actually notice that if you set up your columns and you look at ticket sales, you'll see purchases come through. And it will also send the revenue back to Meta as well. So you'll be able to see the amount of ticket revenue that people are generating through each ad. So the sort of short answer would be have a bit of a search, do some Googling around whatever ticket provider you're using, and then you'll be able to get some documentation on how to set it up. And then hopefully you can get some support from their reps as well. All right. Okay, so Amanda says, small event business here. We host events of 120 to 350 people, have a low spend budget. What's the best way to sell down our last 20% tickets without a large outlay? Are there any strategies that we could use via our Instagram account? Yeah, so I think without knowing, obviously, a lot of the context around your event and everything like that, I think when it gets to that point, it generally comes down to an urgency or creating enough FOMO. So what you basically want to do is you want to craft your messaging throughout your campaign that drives people to create the desire, to buy tickets. So usually if you're not getting that, 20 to 30% final amount to get sold out, it'll be because you probably haven't created enough desire for people to purchase the tickets and think that they're going to miss out, which is, FOMO. Going back to Dan's example that we used before for Dan Murphy, what we did is we restructured the way that he did his sales, and we changed things up a little bit in some of the messaging. And what we generally find is that most people are a little bit apprehensive around using language that can be deemed as salesy, or cheesy, or saying don't miss out and things like that. And Alicia will tell you, I am the biggest advocate for not doing that, for not, cheesing things up, not bullshitting people, not saying tickets are going to sell out when they aren't, all of that stuff. I can't stand that. You can see it a mile away when people do it. But the devil's in the detail. That's another one of my favorite sayings. The devil is in the detail of how you structure it. And so your run home that you're talking about, the work to get that urgency and get that scarcity, to get those people buying those tickets in the last couple of weeks, is done at the start of your event and the start of your launch. So the language that you use, the way that you structure your ticket releases and the way that you structure your sales, and giving people a reason to buy now throughout the whole campaign, is how you will then get to that point where you will get those last few sales. So have a think about, creating that urgency, creating that scarcity around why people need to buy now, so you can come into that run home feeling really confident. And then you can start saying and using language around, hey, we've only got 20 tickets left, don't miss out, because you actually do. And that's where it becomes really, really powerful.
Lots of great questions. We can definitely answer any questions after the
Yep.
webinar as well.
Yep, absolutely. I'll just maybe answer one more. Ibrahim says, ticket sales on Meta and my ticketing platform don't match at times. Have you experienced this? Yes, absolutely. So there's two sort of points here. The first one is that pretty much all tracking and analytics will have discrepancies. So if it's a small discrepancy, it says 50 on one and 45 on another, or 46, that's generally okay. That's just accepted. Obviously, your source of truth is is your ticketing platform, because that's where the dollars and cents are. But if it's a really big discrepancy, you might find that there's an issue with attribution. And what we can find is if you're running multiple events at the same time and your pixel is on multiple pages, if people are seeing an ad for one event and then they go and they convert through another event, it could attribute that sale to the other event. So there can be some sort of cross attribution happening there. And to get around that, what you'll need to do is, I spoke before about having just a purchase conversion. You'll need to set up a custom conversion where you basically put that each time that conversion happens, the URL has to contain a certain URL string, which is unique to that event, and that will eliminate all of your cross event attribution. So if there's a big discrepancy and you're not running multiple events at the same time, that might be something that you need to troubleshoot a little bit, with Meta, or do a bit of research and search around to see if there might be some kind of bug. You might be able to get some help if you reach out to your ticketing provider as well, and they might be able to help as well. Cool. Yep. Cool. So we have 5 weeks to sell 1,000 tickets to sell out. We've sold 500. I think that should probably say. Would you consider doing a last minute coaching session to push this last little run? We are so close, but would love some guidance. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So with the Academy, when you sign up to the Academy, you will get an email straight away with a Calendly link to book in for your personal onboarding session with me. So if you sign up to that, we can sit down and we can absolutely pull this apart with a fine-tooth comb and go through your campaign. As with anyone on the call, as soon as you sign up, you will get that email with a Calendly link to book in, and we can book in that personal session and really dive headfirst into it. So that's part of the Academy, and as well as everything else too. Oh, 5. Okay, so sorry, I didn't read it properly. You need to sell 10,000 tickets. Is it 10,000 and you've sold 5,000? Wow, that's epic. Cool. Love those numbers. Yeah, you've got a lot in the bank and you're halfway there, so you're in a good spot. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I know that everyone's busy. You guys are probably short on time. Okay, we're 11 minutes over. That's okay. I'm happy enough with that. So I am we're going to wrap this up. If you guys have got any more questions, feel free to shoot them through. Any ones that I haven't answered today, we'll go back through, we'll look back through the notes and we'll answer them as well. I might make a couple of Loom videos. But as I said, if you guys want to join the Sellout Academy until midnight tonight, you can lock in that $147 a month price for a lifetime price. I really, really hope that you guys have got a ton of value from the session. I've really, really enjoyed presenting it to you guys and answering all your questions. And I will see you hopefully inside the Sellout Academy. Book in those calls. Let's jump on a call and then help you sell out your events. Thank you, guys.